Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for this delay. There is a technical problem with this computer business. So today is World Honeybee Day, and my talk is on post-COVID-19 livelihood scenario in Vidarbha for tribals and farmers through skill development in beekeeping enterprises. You see now, farmers, and because of this COVID-19, hard hit people are the workers and the farm workers and the farmers scenario to mitigate the losses they incurred due to this COVID-19. COVID-19 has not spoiled the marketing because they couldn't take the goods to the market. So the goods got spoiled in the farming. Now we should prepare our farmers through skill development by providing alternatives in case this kind of disease reoccurred in future. And whatever losses they incur, we should cope up with those losses by the new technology we are interfering. There are many livelihood options, but beekeeping is the best option so far, and easy one for the farmers and tribals to cope up with the situation. Like, we salute our soldiers for protecting our borders. We salute our policemen for providing us internal security that we have seen this time. And we also salute health workers, doctors, nurses, cleaners, for saving our health, for saving our lives. But we forgot honeybees and other biotic pollinators. And these are the small agents, insects, that contribute a great deal in protecting our environment through their pollination services and provide us food security. Because the 70% of the food that we eat every day, knowingly or unknowingly, directly or indirectly, pollinated by bees. Bees, I don't mean honeybees only, because there are so many bees who do not produce honey. It's only honeybee and very few honeybees produce honey, like singlet bees and others. But many other bees which are very good pollinators, they do not produce bees. But they are all dying because of our pesticidal spray and habitat. Pollination services to 86% in different degrees from essential to little services. Therefore, it is our duty on this World Bee Health Day to conserve, to tell people to conserve their biodiversity in the environment by avoiding pesticide spray, unnecessary pesticidal spray, and habitat destruction. Now, the best part, the government is aware of these plans in these services. The other day, last week, our Minister Sitaraman already more beekeeping 500 crore rupees, which will give baseline support and to the beekeepers. We are quite thankful to the government. See why these are so important. 8%, like 13% is very essential, 30% decline essentially in strawberry. Strawberry is one of the fruits that requires crops. Otherwise, you don't get strawberry at all. Then high pollination huge increase. Now, in the little pollination services, we include the crop like coffee. Coffee is self-pollinated plant. You don't require pollination.
Hello. It's sincere request that all participants should keep mute because we are not unable to hear what sir is telling.
Please check the audio. Please check the audio. Sir, please check the audio. You are not audible, sir. Please.
Sir, no
There.
audio is coming. Will you please check the audio?
Graph is, if you see the wider value of bees, you find that the grasses are also pollinated by bees, and so cattle require for making milk. So the tea which you drink and the milk which you drink is also indirectly pollinated product. Then other crops, orchards and allotments. Then there are wild plant communities. Also biodiversity depends on the pollination, because if you don't have wild plant communities, the biodiversity will die. Those small squirrels or birds. Then ecosystem services like soil fertility, flood protection, they are all due to wild plant communities. But if you do not have wild plant communities, if you do not have pollinators, you will fail to get wild plant communities, and then all these biodiversity and ecosystem services will be lost. Now, when we talk about the honeybees, honeybee has a lot of high products. It doesn't give honey alone. Apart from pollination as well as honey, it gives many other products. And many other products are, you can get those products through value chain approach. First, you get honey naturally, bee pollen, royal jelly, propolis, bee venom, and bee wax. I'm going to explain all this in the later slides. And now, when we say value chain approach, what is a value chain approach? Value chain approach means you promote honeybee biodiversity conservation and product development and market certification. and focus on bee health in the region to enhance pollination services for food security. Right from the raw honey till the market, the steps which are required, that is called the value chain. And this value chain is important because you don't get value if you just sell the raw honey. You get value if you sell the bottles, if you sell the clean honey, right? So this is the value chain approach which one must follow, and all the farmers should go for that now. Now, not only honeybees, there are many other biotic agents. When we talk about the honeybees as a pollinator, bees are good pollinators, but there are many other pollinators which are required for pollination services like wind and water. So wind is required for your rice, wheat, jowar, and other crops, right? Then water is required for, the water crop, like what do you call it, singhara. And that is the name which is given, the specific name, scientific name, all end in philly, Phily. So wind, anemo means wind, anemophily, water means hydrophily, and so on. And when we come to the insects, in the middle of the slide, you see insects. That is entomophily. Entomology is insect science. So entomophily. And then we come straight to the bees. There are beetles, there are flies. Of course, beetles are required for your pumpkins. Flies are required for your mango pollination. Because most of the time, if you see the mango is not pollinated by bees at all. Bees just go there if required, but bees are not fit to pollinate mango flowers. Mango flowers are mostly pollinated by Decus dorsalis, the housefly family flies, or the tiny stingless bees. Then we go to bees, and bees are, the specific name of this agent is melitophily. Now, we will discuss more on melitophily now. We leave aside the other abiotic and biotic agents because it's not our topic right now. Now, melitophily has superfamily. These are called pollinator bee family. It is called Apoidea. Just like you have names, they also have some names. So superfamily Apoidea. They all come under that superfamily. Now, this superfamily has two main groups, Anthophila and Speciformis. Anthophila includes all the bees. All bees are included in the group Anthophila superfamily Apoidea. The Speciformis has wasps. We should not bother about the wasp at this time. The Anthophila again has 7 families in the Afro-Asian tropical region. We are in the tropical region, and that's why, and subtropical, of course, above the above the line of Cancer, right? We are in the, right now Vidarbha is in the tropical region. So if you see these different kinds of bees, my idea is to show this slide is to get you acquainted with the colors of these bees, not the names. Names are quite difficult. You don't have to worry about that. But you see that once you see some insects, don't kill because they may be bees. There are Melitidae, Megachilidae. These are very good pollinators. Only apart from all these 7, Epidae includes honeybees. Epidae is the only family that includes honeybees. Now, in the Epidae, it comprises the common honeybees, stingless bees, carpenter bees, orchid bees, cuckoo bees, bumblebees, and various other tribes and groups. So you can see how bumblebees look like, how carpenter bees look like, how orchid bees look like. Carpenter bees and bumblebees, they look alike, but the only difference is that bumblebee has a yellow band, which carpenter bee doesn't have. And carpenter bees is called bhaura. People normally kill in the field. But carpenter bee is 20 times more powerful than honeybees in pollination services. Then we have stingless bees and digger bees, which comes under Apini. Then we have Nomadini. Nomadini or cuckoo bees has 31 genera. These are kleptoparasites. That means they attack the other nests of solitary bees and they lay their own eggs in them. And that's how they survive. But they are good pollinators. Then we have Xylocopini, which includes carpenter bees. So these are the type of bees that we have. Because you should not think that when we talk about the honey bee, it's only one honey bee. It's not one honey bee. There are many bees in the world. So many genera in the world, and in India, there are more than 220. So we can make use of them. But the only problem is why we use honeybee all the time for pollination, because they are nicely domesticated and we can keep the hives. Whereas these bees, the single solitary bees, very difficult to rear, and we try to do the carpenter bees rearing, which is quite difficult and it takes time. So the best thing is let the carpenter bees and let the other bees do the job in the field, and then you include the additional support by the domesticated honeybee. So this is how the bees are so important. But the bees have problems as well. They travel from one place to another without any barrier. And if suppose the bee of, say for example, Amravati is infected with some diseases and pests, that bee will come to Nagpur and will infect the bees of Nagpur. So this is a cross-border invasion. It can happen globally as well. From one country, the disease can go to another country. Now, this is again another COVID-19, right? So bee diseases are just like COVID-19. But we have a cure, although you don't have cure for the COVID-19 right now. But our basic regulations and guidelines for the control should be harmonized and promoted across. Why? Because this slide I have taken from my African slide batch. That's why the written is Africa, but it should be promoted across India. And it has been promoted across India because India is far ahead of Africa in that. Then we should also request our NARS. We should have in each districts of Vidarbha the research laboratory, bee disease research laboratory, where they can inspect the bees and tell the farmers or the beekeepers that your bee is suffering from ABCD. Then we also have the cure, because once we diagnose, what do we need? The cure is very simple. For bacteria, for viruses, and for fungus, and for varroa mite. The main cure is simple one. And this one we did this in our environmental health division, biopesticides department in Africa, where we have developed a nice strip. It is patented also, 2013. You can put my name and you get the patent. It is patented also and very easy to carry. We just supply these strips to the farmers and they just have to open the strip and put the yellow strip inside onto the top of the beehive. So if you put 3 strips on the beehive and close the hive, within 14 days, all the varroa mites, all the fungal bacterial spores, they are dead and your hives get cured. If your hives have foul brood, then the best thing is to burn the hives. You don't cure the hives because foul brood is not curable. So the best thing is, if you have varroa mite, if you have some viral disease, if you have some protozoan disease, you can use this strip. But with the bacteria foul brood, it is a bit difficult. If it is early stage, yes, it is possible. And this also requires a laboratory, which is the responsibility of NARS. It is not the farmers who are going to make the laboratory for this. They'll only get the strip. Now, so we have to train farmers in all the other skills. And what are the training? We should have technology skill. related to production of honey, wax, and bee health, post-harvest technologies, beehive product, crop pollination services, and forest rejuvenation, etc. Now, some of the things which is written there, biofloc, fish farming, goat breeding, and all, we also promote these things, but today is the topic of bees only. That's why I'm not mentioning those things. Then once they have technology skill, they should also have business skill, which is related to successfully running a business and accessing markets as well as technology-based business activities. And then they should have life skill that relate to personal awareness and capacity building. Once we train the farmers, and then we should, and this is how we should build the capacity, the way we did in Africa. You can see this picture. All these African farmers are being trained in all these skills. So the first thing which we have to tell farmers, or we have to provide farmers with the hives. How to set a hive. This is all single box hive, but you require the second box only when there is a honey production. You don't require two boxes at the same time. Once the hive is built and there is a honey flow season, then you put the super at the top. It is called super. And the basic thing is, here is the honey bees and the queen live in the single box. Now, depends on whether it is Serena hives or it is Langstroth hives. Langstroth hives may be having 12 frames. Serena has 10 frames. Some people have little less frames. It doesn't matter. But it should have a correct bee space. If you do not have correct bee space, the bees will not proliferate in there. And because of the ants problem in our region, in Vidarbha, and many other in India as well, in all tropical places, and subtropical, we should hang the hives or put the stand. Hanging hive is easy for the farmers. Stand will cost extra. So we prefer, both are possible. Both things can be done. So first they should develop their apiaries. Now this is the kind of model apiaries in farmers' field we should develop. And so we should first promote to develop the hives. And once the hives is developed, you get the honey ready. Honey will be ready once it is a new hive. The honey will take about 6 to 8 months. See, once you get the honey ready, you can see the sealed frame. You can see it is all nicely sealed. White things is the cover on the top. Now this frame consists of, one side is 1,500 cups. The other side is 1,500 cups. Now cups is, these are wax cups, which honeybee makes. Wax comes from the abdominal glands of honeybees. And all the worker bees, they work together and make beautiful same size wax. Now when the wax is when the comb is completed, then they polish the comb inside. They polish the comb with propolis. Now what is propolis? Propolis is the plant substance, like if you crush any bud or you poke a bark, yeah? If you crush any bud, you get the sticky things. Now that sticky thing is a propolis, which has antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral properties. Now that honeybee brings and polish the cups, and these cups are now ready for honeybees to put honey inside. And how honey is made? Once they take the nectar, they put it in the honey stomach inside, regurgitate again, they mix it with all the enzymes. Honey has a lot of enzymes. And they break the sucrose of sugar into glucose and fructose. And then once they regurgitate, they fill the cup with the honey. Then they dry the honey. You know, that honey is liquid. So they dry it to 17% humidity. So it becomes thick. And this is the honey we eat. And then they seal it. And right now what you're seeing on the frame is a sealed honeycomb. Now, once you have harvested the honey, for harvesting you require a harvester. You put the frame inside, roll the machine, you get the honey out. Before that, you have to remove the caps. So with a knife, you just remove the cap and you can get the honey very clear. Now, once the honey harvesting is over, either you can put the frame back into the honey box so that they fill it second time. If the floras are good, they can fill it second time. If not, then you can extract the wax. And after extracting the wax, you put the wax in a bucket, in a small utensil, and put that utensil under boiled water. Don't put wax directly in the water. It loses the quality. And that's how, once the wax is extracted, cool it down, you get this nice cake, which you can see in the picture. And then with the mold, you can make any type of candles you want. Now, this candles gives you more price than the wax itself. The waxes cost 600 rupees a kilo. If you put the candles, maybe you get 1200 or 1500 rupees a kilo. So that is the kind of difference you get. Proposing that farmers, they should not sell the raw material to the middleman. They should process it. And for processing, it is the duty of the government to make the marketplaces for them, which I'm going to explain later. What are the marketplaces and all that? And this is another usage. You can make batiks, you can make polishes out of wax, gold, furniture polish, car polish. All this is made by beeswax. Now, comb foundation making machine should be in a central place because this is required to fit in that frame before you put the frame inside the honey box. Now, this is another thing, royal jelly. Now, royal jelly is the product of the brain glands, modified mandibular glands in the brain, in the head region rather, not in the brain. And these are secreted by 6 days old honey worker bees, 6 to 15 days old worker bees. Now, the older bees, they don't produce royal jelly. And these workers, they fill the royal jelly and feed the queen all the time. Queen bees require only royal jelly. Queen bee doesn't eat honey, doesn't eat pollen, nothing, just the royal jelly. And that is why the queen bee lays 2000 eggs per day. I repeat, 2000 eggs per day. That is the power of the royal jelly. It has a very powerful protein which you get in the soybean and the fish. It is 10 HD protein, 10 HDA. Now and how do you get the royal jelly? You have to prepare the frames which you can see, the kind of 2 bars. Now in those bars, you fix the cup, wax cup. Now how do you make the wax cup? You have to make exact size of the cup the way queen cups occur in the natural condition. And then you have this small wood bar, melt the wax, dip the bar in the wax and let it cool. It becomes a cup. Those cups you fix upside down, upside down in those bars. And in those cups, you put very fast 1 day old larva with little bit of honey or royal jelly. Very little, touch, only touch. Then that bar, if you see the second one, there's a naked bar you can see. That bar you put in a very strong colony, which has a pollen on one side, honey on the other side. In between, you put these, and the next should be the young bees, also should be around. So once you have the young bees around, they construct a real queen cup on that cup which you have attached. So that becomes a queen cell. Now in this queen cell, the younger bees, they fill royal jelly completely. Now on fourth day, they close the cup. And once they close the cup, the royal jelly becomes watery. So if you want to harvest royal jelly, you can only harvest on third day or very early fourth day, otherwise not. So you can harvest the royal jelly if you don't want queens. If you want to multiply your colonies and increase the colony size, you can let it go, and on 13th day you get the queen out. Queens at a go, and you can develop 20 to 30 hives, right? By just putting those queens in a queen cage and in a small box called a NIC box, nuclear box, with 3,000 bees. The bees will first accept the queen and they will chew the candy, and the queen will come out and start laying eggs, right? If you put directly the queen, they will kill the queen. So you have to put the queen with a queen cage only, right? And a candy at the mouth. So that candies are chewed by the young bees, and then they allow queen to come out. And then the queen is fed with royal jelly, so that queen starts laying 2,000 eggs. Initially, it lays 700, followed by 1,500. Then, after a week or so, queen starts laying usual 2,000. So when you prepare the colony, make sure your bees, your queen lays 2,000 eggs, then only you accept that. Otherwise, you reject it. Then the royal jelly, once it is harvested, you can lyophilize it. Lyophilize means you put the royal jelly and make it powder. Because the machine which you see, the lyophilizer, it has minus 190 degree temperature, minus 190. It can burn anything. And that's why the jelly becomes a powder. Once the powder is ready, then the other machine is a royal jelly capsule production. Now this is for the marketing people, private traders who can do this. A pharmaceutical company can do this. And then you can make royal jelly capsule production and sell in the market. Royal jelly sells at the rate of 1,300 rupees to 1,600 rupees a kilo raw. But if you make the capsules, you can make more than 4,000 rupees a kilo. That is how the price becomes. So next we go to the propolis, which I have explained you that propolis, how propolis is made. And we have a trap, very simple method of making propolis. It's a mesh-like trap which you keep at the top of the hives and let the bees seal the trap. See, bees don't want any gap in between. When they mash, they can't. Once they seal it, you remove that.
Please
Now this
shut
one
your
is taken,
televisions.
one
The
picture which is
speech.
showing is from the the crude way of doing it. You can just scrap the whole thing and collect it and make a ball. Now, propolis is very useful for asthma patient, for any kind of ailment, stomach ailment, and it is registered and sold in the market. Then we go to the harvesting of the pollen. Pollen harvesting is a very simple method. You get a ready-made pollen extractor, pollen harvest frame. You fix it in front of the entrance of the hives, and the bees come and scrapped, and the half the pollen they are dropped inside the box. You collect, harvest every day. You collect, harvest every day, and then put it in the fridge or dry it and put it in the packet. The next is the bee venom. Bee venom is a substance which is secreted by active glands and ejected with the aid of the sting apparatus. It is a water clear liquid with a sharp, bitter taste and aromatic odor. It is comparable to ripe bananas, having a distinctly acid reaction. Let's see, if you eat ripe banana in front of a hive, the bees will definitely sting you. So do not eat banana in front of a hive, beehive. Now, the method of production of bee venom is quite simple, but it requires a lot of bees. Of course, bees don't die at all. Not a single bee die in this process. Otherwise, in the nature, when the bees sting, they die because the whole sting apparatus comes out. Here, nothing comes out. We have two glass plates. Above the glass plate, you can see the second picture. Above the glass plate, there is a grid. And above the grid, we keep a box. And bottom of the box, we have a mesh. Normal muslin type of mesh. Then we put about 25,000 bees inside. Or we initially put 2 to 10,000 bees. It depends on the box condition. Then we start the current. Once the bee get the current, some bees sit on the wire mesh, so they get the current. They get irritated. Once the bee is irritated, they send a pheromone which invites all the bees to come at the same point. That's why, when the bee stings you, and if you kill the bees, then you get 3 to 10 bees more and stinging you on the same spot. So never ever kill the bees, even if it stings you. So when the bees come over the glass plates and the grid, they sting. But when they sting, they leave it is called the milking of the bee venom. They leave the venom, but they don't get spoiled. The sting doesn't get spoiled. And you get the bead of venom on the plate. Venom, as soon as it comes in contact with air, it oxidizes and it becomes solid. So once it is full, you remove the glass plate, scrap it, and you get the venom. Each gram of bee venom powder approximately costs 6,000 rupees. But to prepare 1 milligram of pure venom, you require 25,000 bees. So it's a costly affair, but it's very well paid, which I don't think farmers and tribals can do it, but of course can done by the private business people. Then we have a protein supplement, that is drone pupae, which are edible. Now you get vitamin D, a lot of vitamin D, 10 times more than the cod liver oil. Now, this is great to eat insects, right? But they eat shrimps. I'm talking about the non-vegetarian people. This doesn't apply to the vegetarian people. The non-vegetarian people, when they can eat shrimp, when they can eat crab, when they can eat chicken, they can also eat pupae, which gives them a very good vitamin D. And this is a good supplement. Or you can make the powder of this, and that powder can be supplied, right? So this is another business which can be done. Now, for all these, if you're doing this, giving these skills to the traders and farmers and to the tribals, you should have marketplace, a central marketplace. Like when you're giving hives to the farmers, he's not going to sell his farm goods, whatever agro-based products is produced in the market itself, himself. He should have a central place. So we have to develop a marketplace, which we call, the World Bank has given this name, marketplace, in 1992. And I think we got the prize also there for the World Bank, our ICPE, when I was in ICPE. So the marketplace has all the facilities of processing, packaging, and then we invite, the marketplace as a committee invites the trader to get the finished product from the marketplace. And this is how the funds is revolved. The money gets, when they receive the money from the traders, they pay farmers immediately as soon as they bring the product. So honey is brought to the marketplace, paid them, the committee pays them, and then it is given to the market. And the market traders, they sell it anywhere in the local shop. This is not our business to sell in the local shop. And then they make their own profit. So this is how the whole value chain, right from the production to the marketing, takes place. This is what we have to teach to the people so that they don't suffer. In situation like this, COVID, when their crops are being spoiled, crops are spoiled not because of COVID, but because of lack of marketing. And they don't have money. So this is the alternative income source. Many other options are there for alternative income, but honey is the one which is guaranteed and will give cash income immediately. We then certify, the marketplace duty is to certify the honey and gives whatever brand name they wish to give and sell in the market. So our project goal for the traders, for the tribals and the farmers is to save forest ecosystem and improve food and income security of targeted farmers and tribals through honeybee value chain activities in 11 districts of Vidarbha. Now you have seen the value chain of honeybees. You have seen all the products which can be produced by the honeybees. You can see all the value of the pollinators. Now you have to train the farmers and tribals. So we have selected 11,000 tribals and farmers in Vidarbha because we have 11 districts. Let's take 1,000 from each district as a trial basis. This is very small number, but initially you have to start small for this complete package of value chain. And then the tribals and farmers become food secure. Then 22,000 tribal and farmers nutritionally benefited. This will be the impact, because how 22,000? Assuming that the tribal family has 2 members in the house, although they have more, but let's make it minimum. So 22,000 tribal and farmers nutritionally benefit because they can consume honey. That is nutrition. The kids will consume honey and they'll be benefited. So these are the technology-based entrepreneurship. In Vidarbha, we can make use of all 4 species of honeybees. We have 4 species of honeybees here. Apis mellifera, which is not the indigenous one, but it is available. And Apis cerana, which is indigenous. And then we have 2 undomesticated bees. Like these undomesticated means they cannot be put in the hives, which is A. dorsata, that is Apis dorsata, and Apis florea. If you see the picture, the first line, the first paragraph, first picture is Apis mellifera, followed by the hives of Apis mellifera, then the pollinated tomatoes, and then we have to be careful that do not put your hives in the genetically modified crops, otherwise the bees will die. So you have to save our pollinators. Now, they normally do not go, they reject this genetically modified crops, but in case they are hungry, they go there. Then we have the second one, number 2, is the Epicirana. These two are Epicirana is very in our Vidarbha region, and we can make use of that. Number 3 is Epicirana. You can see the big comb next to it. And then the last one is A. florea, which makes very small comb. You hardly get 5 kilograms of honey, 3 to 5 kilograms. Whereas with this limit, even they get 40 kilograms of honey, 45 kilograms of honey. Our Vidarbha region gets about 15 to 20 kilograms for one Dorsetta hives. And the best thing is that we have to teach farmers not to chop the whole comb of Dorsetta. There are only honey portions which you can remove, leave the broods and other bees area, breeding area, so that it is the bottom side which has honey and the upper side is brood. So make sure that you only cut the bottom side and leave it so that it can make another very fast. Now the same thing is with Epicirana. Epicirana makes honey, and but you can domesticate it, so you can put in the frame and use the frame the way you want. So the objective of our project is assist communities. Communities includes farmers, includes traders, includes tribals, includes all the marketing people, students, to develop coping mechanisms and diversify livelihoods, especially for farmers and tribals, from beekeeping enterprises by utilization of natural resources. Second is the researchers can measure the impact of climate change and COVID-19 on the socio-economic status of poor community groups. The losses incurred by COVID-19 in these last 2-3 months to the farmers community must be recorded, and we should have the data of all that. Then the third is the capacity building. We have to train them, give them skills for producers, capacity building for producers, for infrastructure support, for processing, quality improvement, promotion and marketing support, which will improve the trade and improving trade documentation, so that everybody has access to all these information. What are the key impacts? If we do that, what will happen? Many rural poor groups adopt these business enterprises based on honeybee practices. Then we shall have the tools to examine biodiversity resources, quantitative estimates of the economic impact of climate change and COVID-19 on crops and forest biodiversity. Then risk management tools will be defined. You see why we say crop forest biodiversity? Because if they lose the crop, they will crush the forest to sell the wood. So then we'll have forest loss as well. If they lose the crops because they could not sell it in the market and the crops got spoiled, then they will have no alternative. So they will go to any extent to get the money. And we don't blame them. Everybody needs money. We should have this data of the economic impact caused by this COVID-19 and climate change. You see, now we have very, very uneven climate. Even in April and May, we had rains, which is very unusual, especially for Nagpur, Amravati, Akola. I mean, this is very unusual things to have rains. We do not have enough heat now. Then risk management tools defined. So we'll define the risk management, we'll frame the risk management and then define the tools. Then the pollination services and increase in crops and commodities value with certification, branding and marketing will be there. Then post-harvest processing equipment at each farmer's own marketplace for value addition, so that in the marketplace, we'll have these processing equipment and farmers do not suffer. All the money goes to the farmers, from the farmers to the farmers, not to the middleman, not to the middleman. So farmers should not directly give anything to the middleman. They should give to the sell their produce in the marketplace. Marketplace will process and then give it to the traders. There they can become middleman can come in, but not from the poor people. They cannot have. They pay 150, 200 rupees per kilo and take the honey, take the wax, and then make double the money outside, right? Which we should adopt, we should avoid, and we should give more profit to the farmers directly. Outcome will be the marketing infrastructure will be made available to target farmers and tribals. Then we'll have 5% increase in state government funding to livelihood sectors. Improved value-added agro-based honey products sold by targeted tribal farmers. 20-25% increase in crop income of smallholder household through pollination services. 15% increase in share of household income through honey and other high products. Because this 15% increase also have the crop improvement, like 20-25% crops, will get more, so definitely it will have more share of household income. Then the other outcome is the number of startup women entrepreneurs join VC Brand Incubator Program. This is the central government program, and it is in every state is following it, where the women gets some loan money to start the enterprises, and only women entrepreneurs are involved in this VC Brand Incubator Program. So the number of tribal and farmers, they join economic value chain through Government of India scheme called Spurti under the aegis of KVIC, Khadi and Village Industry Commission, which is a very good, and they are doing very smart work. And they really support the tribals and farmers, and we should thank KVIC for that. Tribals and farmers benefited from national agriculture market. Now every state has this facilities, ENAM, which is like the farmers do not have the marketplace, people do not have to go from one state to another state. They can contact the people and get the orders and send their goods. That is ENAM. And the farmers benefited. They can sell anywhere. They don't have to sell in the local market if the local market is not giving enough money. If the other market is giving money, then they can sell it directly. Improved common policy and governance mechanism to address climate change and COVID-19. This is the job of our state government. Now, if we have all this, what is the requirement? How do we start? See, we have learned, we have done the capacity building, we have given all the impacts and the outcome, whatever, but how? What is the activities and infrastructure required, which we have to supply to the people, to the farmers? So 11,000 tribals, that is our number for 11 districts. They are educated and trained in agro-based honey beekeeping technology. That is the first thing, activities we have to do. Then 11 fully equipped marketplaces developed for agro-based products, one for each district of Vidarbha. Then 22 honey collection centers, because once you have the honey, we should have 2 centers where the farmers can go, instead of going to the marketplace, they can go straight to the honey collection centers, give their honey, get their money, and come back. Then we have 11 queen rearing stations, one for each district. This is for colony management and multiplication, and for royal jelly production. Then 11 livelihood business and technology based incubators, where we can teach all these technologies in a very simple way. Then we need 22 greenhouses for pollination services, 2 for each districts. Of course, this is only for NARS. NARS should have a training ground and should demonstrate to the farmers and tribals that this is how you get more production. using greenhouses. For example, tomato crops, brinjal crops, okra crops, many other. You can get much more if you use greenhouses, pollination services. Yeah. And pollination services, when you do in the greenhouse, make sure that the beehives you should keep outside the greenhouse, not inside the greenhouse. Always outside the greenhouse, and put a small tube and put that tube inside the greenhouse so that bees can go in and come out. Otherwise, if you put bees inside, they will die because of heat. Then we should have 110 units. You see, these greenhouses, the farmers can get a loan and buy their own, because government is not going to supply greenhouses to each and every farmer. Then 110 units of post-harvest beekeeping equipment, 10 units for each district, so that farmers will have facilities for extracting the honey or wax preparation or propolis or royal jelly, pollen, packaging, etc. This will be set in the marketplace. Then we should have 22,000 box beehives. Because this one we have to give 2 to each farm family for 1,000 selected bee farmers in one district, with bees supplied. And the training, they will have training already, so then they will get the results. Then 11 agri-tech startup facilities in Vidarbha for apiculture and beehive products. Now this is mainly for the marketing people. Government is giving support to the private traders, private enterprises for startup units, so that all the finished products they will gather, and then they can sell to the they can sell to the different local market or whatever market is there. Then we have 11,000 travels farmers educated, and sorry, this is something. Now then the output is one beehive produces, if it is Apis cerana, 10 to 12 kg. If it is Apis mellifera, 15 to 20 kg. Apis mellifera requires Langstroth hives. Apis cerana requires cerana hives. Per season you get it. If you have 2 better season, you get 2 times honey. If you have 1 season, good season, you get 1 time. And 6, so the total we have 11,000 travels. Of course, all will not produce the honey in 1 season. So let's hope that 60% they produce. So those 60% farmers will get 660 metric tons of honey per season in Vidarbha. 1 kg of honey costs 250 to 300 farm price. That is the raw honey which they will sell to the marketplace. Then 66 tons of wax. 1 kg wax requires 600. Of course, in the marketplace, when they convert this into candles, it will give them more than 1,200 per kg output. 6 tons of propolis. 1 kg gives 2,000. Now this one, only pharmaceutical companies will have to market this propolis so that they can prepare whatever they wish to prepare. Propolis tablets or whatever for asthma patient. Or the propolis lozenges for cough, whatever. 60 tons of pollen. Now this is for the farmers so that they are nutritionally better. 1 ton of royal jelly. If you make it previous production, you can do 1 ton of royal jelly. That is 1 kilogram costs 1,300 to 1,600. Of course, if pharmaceutical companies make capsules, they can make more than 3,000 to 3,500 rupees per kilogram of royal jelly. All these costs are approximation. I mean, you should not fix the cost. It is not 250. It can go to 70. It can go to 20 as well. Depends on the season of production, depends on the availability of the product. If there is too much harvest of honey, if all 11,000 people produce honey, will go down because there'll be too much. Honey is less, then the price will go up. So this is the approximation cost which the marketplace people will negotiate with the traders and will get the money. But each farmer will get sufficient money as an extra money, additional money, so that they can survive during this kind of situation which they are now in. Then you have the horticulture crop 20-25%. Then we have organically certified honey and all these new generation hive products such as bee wax, royal jelly, propolis, and they are sold by all the 11,000 participant tribals and farmers. You can see these agro-based products. Now we have included vermiculture in this because it gives a very good soil promotion, and so vermiculture is also included when we teach the pollination services. Then you can see the products now beautifully available for the market. Now the CSBR Nagpur University also involved in other activities, other options, other livelihood modules. And these are sericulture, mushrooms, and we have our counterparts in zoology department for biofloc fish culture, and we have another counterpart in animal husbandry, goat farming, and we teach apiculture and crop pollination here in CSBR as well. We provide trainings to the farmers, to the tribals, and we hope that with this kind of project, farmers will be benefited and Vidarbha will be benefited. Thank you very much.
Hello, thank you all participants. Myself, Dr. Vijay Raut, one of the co-convener of this participation and presentation team. I'm extremely sorry for your technical faults, and we have recorded this video, and hopeful all the participants will get this video by email in 1 or 2 days. Soon you will get the feedback forms. Once you fill and submit the feedback form, you will get the e-certificate on your email. So thank you once again. Stay home and be safe home.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. It was a very interesting talk.
Thank you so much. The session was really nice, sir, and thank you very much for organizing this on World Honeybee Day. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you, sir.
We have shared a screen, and this all team and organizing secretary.
Thank you, sir.
We
Very
have the
nice.
coordinator. I am very much thankful to sir, Dr. S.B. Zade sir, head of the Department of Zoology, Dr. R.N. Singru, the principal of Sai Golwalkar Science College, Dr. V.V. Lepse, the principal of Science College Pavni, Dr. Kunal P. Domki, principal of Asif Sai Baba College, convener Dr. S. Rahile, Science College Pavni, co-convener Dr. Vijay D. myself, again Sai Golwalkar Mahavidyalaya Ramdev, and organizing secretary Dr. P. Ingre. I once again thank you all the technicians and coordinators, guest speakers, and non-technical staff who have contributed and supported very well to complete this World Honeybee Day celebration in national seminar. Once again, I am thankful to all of you for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We are waiting for the recording.
Yes, yes, definitely, madam.
It was very interesting.